Aloha and welcome to Muro's Temple, the podcast, where we explore the deeper work behind our Hawaii location and online platform. I invite you to join me as we return home to your body's feminine wisdom. Aloha, my loves, and welcome back. So I'm sitting here looking at the launching of this holistic therapy program that starts here at the temple on April 1st, and we're in 2023. And I'm sitting here realizing that the reason why this program was birthed and created was because women didn't actually realize that they needed it. And so now my responsibility of this is not only to create it and bring all of the moving parts and the experts together, but to educate women on why this thing is even happening. And of course, I think as a healer, I always see things as a mirror reflection. So my path always represents what is happening in the external and vice versa. And of course, looking at my history and how I began the work of the divine feminine and the womb work, I never imagined doing this. But of course, looking within my own trajectory, I realize I had trauma and I had things in my body that nobody told me about, that I had to explore kind of on my own and figuring it out. And that's often how it happens, yeah? We are guided to do things, and then looking back, we are able to put the pieces together. So immediately upon arriving to Hawaii, I was very led to work, of course, with all the Lemurian and feminine technology, which includes sound and water and energy, and really tapping into feminine ways of healing the heart and the womb. I didn't have these words at that time. But looking back, I've been working hands-on, at least, with wombs and hearts from the moment I arrived to Hawaii. And a common thread that really became clear shortly after opening Muro's temple, which was originally opened as Mubar and Temple, was that women were coming in with an excessive amount of trauma in their bodies. Now, I am not a trauma practitioner, expert, but when I say excessive, what I mean is that they were carrying patterns that were really inhibiting them from living a life based in love and liberation and empowerment and freedom. Now, how common is that? It's not too common, right? Most people don't live from that place, and I can't say I live from that place every single day either. This journey is about bringing awareness to that process. So what I mean when I say an excessive amount of trauma is they were carrying it and not aware of it. And that is, to me, really important to denote that if you carry it and you're aware of it, now you have the ability to see it when it arises. You have the ability to catch yourself when you are in a relationship, in a situation, in a position of life that does not feel right to you. The issue becomes when we are not aware of it, when we are numbed by our experiences, when we feel trapped or stuck or incapable of shifting, of changing the relationship, the job, the environment, the immediate circumstances around us. And we simply live with that. We wake up every day to that. Now, of course, you can still carry trauma, be aware of it, and also kind of slip it in your back pocket because let's be real. How convenient is it to sit with these kinds of things. I'm not going to be specifically talking about what trauma, and for that, I think I'd rather leave that for a different episode because it can go pretty deep. And I think if this resonates with you, you will know. But I will say one thing that has really opened my eyes working with this is that what I considered trauma has really broadened. And I think working with Nea, the director of this program, I've really realized and been able to look within and say, wow, I don't have memories of physical excessive trauma, but I certainly carry trauma in my womb. And that looks like womb loss. That looks like relationships that didn't honor where I was or what I felt in specific moments in time. And even watching my parents growing up created trauma in my nervous system and in my body, directly related around my root, sacral, and solar plexus energy centers, which to me, when I work with energy, that is the womb. So the lower three energy centers, which are often described as the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus, sort of collapse as one and create the energy field of the womb. I hope that is landing for you. And I explain that because oftentimes when we don't feel rooted, aka the root chakra or energy center, or safe enough in the foundations of our life, and that can be our home, that could be our finances, that could be the way that we are loved or love others, the way that we nourish our bodies, or the sacral chakra, which is directly related to our sexual organs, but also our ability to create and express in creative ways, but then also the solar plexus, which is directly related to the way that we move in the world. And I know that's a very simplified way of explaining it, but when I work with the womb and I uncover patterns and trauma within the womb, this is what I see. So these energy centers are either very weak or leaking a lot of energy, meaning a lot of energy is being misplaced or misused. And these, at least from my experience, have been related to trauma. And also remembering that when we work with trauma in the womb, we are talking about, and this is what I really wanted to share today, we're talking about 7 generations behind us, because the womb carries, just like the spine, 7 generations of information before us, and, beautiful enough, 7 generations ahead of us. That's a lot. So just like take your hands on your womb for a moment and feel that. Most of us, at least I, don't even know fully what happened 1 generation before me, because it's not a culture of expression and clarity. And it wasn't okay nor accepted to talk about these things. So it's really this now moment in time as women that not only are we uncovering how much we carry, but we also are carrying the responsibility to bring awareness to this and to also work with it. And this is why this holistic therapy program was birthed, because so much has come up in the recent years working with women one-on-one. I worked with women for many years before this, but not specifically catered around the womb with hands-on work. And I think this is a beautiful balance, because Nea is a mental health therapist, and I'm sure I'll be bringing her on the podcast to have a conversation around her work. But she's really been able to merge the medical background of mental health therapy with her shamanic experience and her awakening experience. So she has that background, whereas I come from more of an energy perspective and working with patterns and DNA and ancestral lineages and working with the soul blueprints. So although those two paths seem so different, it's so beautiful for us to actually come together, sit down, and see how the information is coming through one way and the other. And I'm just really enjoying this process of bringing awareness to what we as women are carrying in our wombs, what we as women can do about that. And the most beautiful part, what we as women are capable of creating in this life, of really tapping into our pleasures and our desires and the beauty that we yearn to live in this world. It's all anchored in our wombs, but it's behind all of these things that we carry. And so I hope that this podcast is inspiring, empowering, and also deep in the sense that it can bring awareness to not only how much we carry, but how much we can do about it. So I'll shortly describe this 3-month program that we are currently creating. Our first cohort begins April 1st, and it is in person right now. My dream and wish is to, of course, bring it online and be able to bring groups of women from different places to experience this. But really the idea is to create a safety net and an ecosystem for women to have tools, to have practitioners of holistic modalities like sound, like somatic movement, like holistic therapy and shamanic transmutation work, and also have somebody that has been in the clinical scene and has known and experienced what works and what doesn't. So to really bridge these gaps of what's working, what's not working, how can we bring all of this together to ultimately support and empower women? And so this will be a 3-month immersion of weekly classes, of twice a month process groups, of meditations and sound healings, and of course, bodily experiences. And the feminine path really asks us to come back to our bodies, to return to the safety of our nervous systems. And just saying that, it's like I could literally weep because it's so profound, ladies. It's so profound what we carry and what we can do. And the more I delve into this work, the more beautiful and vast I realize how our body is and how deep our nervous system yearns to bring us back. But it takes work. It takes awareness. And so I invite you, if you are in, of course, Oahu, to join this program. And if you're not, continue to follow and maybe join the online platform. I will definitely be sharing more tools and online resources for women that are really called to do this kind of work. And I promise I will be working on an online platform for this soon, because it's so beautiful, it's so potent, and it is so needed. And by the way, last part of today's episode, I just kind of clicked in for me today. I know a lot of astrologers have been talking about this Saturn moving into Pisces, and we'll be working with this for 3 years. And of course, I have no professional experience in astrology, but I will tell you one thing, that this is now the time for us to bring our spiritual gifts into the world and to give them shape and form. And I really feel that more women grounding and anchoring and moving into their wombs will allow for this to happen. Because if you're listening to this, you have gifts and you've been called here at this time, at this age, to share them. And the more I anchor into my womb, the more I anchor into these gifts that I have come in with. So My love, it's been beautiful today. I hope that you received something from this episode, and I can't wait to be back soon. Hui ho. Mwah. Mahalo for being here with me today. And as usual, if you'd like to learn more about what we do at our Hawaii location or online, explore the courses, the mentorship, or the events, go to www.murosetemple.com. See you soon.